Today, we're going to dive into a pretty radical way of looking at personal finance. It's all based on a sermon that really challenges the way most of us think about the money we have and the stuff we own.
Okay, so let's just jump right into the big question that this entire framework is built around. It sounds simple, right? But the answer changes everything about how you might live your life. Who is really calling the shots with your finances?
You know, this whole thing kicks off with a feeling I think we can all relate to. That powerful grip that money has on our lives. It influences our decisions, it fuels our worries, and it even shapes our dreams. It's this constant battle, this constant pull. So to really unpack this tension, the source material points to a famous passage from the Gospel of Matthew. It basically sets up a choice between two competing masters. On one side you have God, the Creator, and on the other you have Mammon, which is just an old Aramaic word for wealth, money, and possessions. And by the way, you'll see the Chinese characters here because the sermon this is all based on was bilingual.
And man, this quote really hits the nail on the head, right? The idea is just so stark. You can't have two ultimate authorities in your life. You just can't. When it comes to your finances, you have to decide who or what is really in the driver's seat.
Okay, so if we're being pulled in two different directions, what's the solution? How do we resolve this conflict? Well, according to this framework, the entire answer boils down to what one single crucial word actually means.
And that word is Lord. Now, in this context, we're not just talking about some respectful or religious title. No, this is a declaration of ultimate, absolute ownership and control over literally everything that exists.
Okay, so claiming God owns everything, that's a massive statement, right? So where's the proof? Well, this viewpoint lays out the evidence straight from the Bible to back up that claim.
First off, just look at the sheer volume. We're talking about over 2,300 verses that deal with money, wealth, and possessions. So right away, you can see this isn't some minor side topic. It's presented as something that is absolutely central.
And these claims of ownership get incredibly specific. We're not talking about some vague, abstract idea. The claim covers the entire planet and everything in it, all the precious metals we value like silver and gold, and yeah, even every single animal in the wild. This one verse from the Psalms pretty much wraps the whole idea up in a nutshell. The bottom line from this perspective is that nothing is truly ours. Not our house, not our car, not the money in the bank. It's all just on loan, basically, held in trust for the real owner.
Okay, so let's follow that logic for a second. If God is the ultimate owner of everything, then where do we fit in? What does that make us with our jobs and our bank accounts? Well, the logical consequence is this massive shift in how you see yourself. You go from thinking of yourself as the owner of all your stuff to realizing that you're actually the steward. You're the manager, taking care of resources that belong to someone else.
And this is where it gets really, really practical. This one little mindset shift completely changes the game. The question is no longer, hey, what's in it for me? What do I get out of this? Instead, every single decision becomes, okay, how do I best manage this for the real owner?
And this whole journey, the shift in thinking, leads to what this worldview would call the ultimate payoff. And it's a completely different definition of financial freedom than you're probably used to hearing about.
See, in this view, real freedom has absolutely nothing to do with how many zeros are in your bank account. It's about being free from the anxiety, the stress, and the constant worry that money brings into our lives. And that freedom, it says, comes from trusting that the true owner has your back.
So to bring this down to earth, a very clear line is drawn between what we need and what we want. The promise here is that our essential needs will be taken care of, kind of like the biblical example of manna in the desert. But the anxiety, the stress, that almost always comes from chasing our wants, the luxuries, the extras.
So we're left with this final thought to chew on. Just imagine for a second, if you fully embraced this idea of being a steward instead of an owner, what's the one thing, the first thing, that would change about how you deal with your money? It's a pretty powerful question to think about.